Hey everyone, it's Peter Kerr from Rock Daydream Nation, and today we have the Supergroup Part 3, where we are basically creating a heavy metal Frankenstein group out of Scorpions, Motörhead, Michael Schenker Group, Judas Priest, and Iron Maiden. So the name of the game is you've got to pick one singer, two guitarists, one bass player, and one drummer, one member from each of those bands. And I have picked an esteemed expert panel. We've got Joe B, we've got Peter Jones, we've got Chris Propfe, we've got Grant Arthur, we've got John Clauser, we've got Ryan Gavalier, and we've got Reed Little. Welcome, guys.
Nice to be here.
Hey, Peter.
Hey, nice everybody.
Yeah.
How are you this morning?
Fantastic. Well, it's going to be a really good show. So I'm going to start it off. I'm going to start it off with this gentleman. So when I sent out the invitation, I got an email back within 5 minutes to say, oh, this is easy.
Right.
Starting off with Peter.
All right. Well, and it was, and I haven't changed it since, if you can believe that. So I wanted a band like last episode that works really, really well together. Now, no egos, no flashy solo artists who are in bands, that kind of thing. So we're going to just jump right into it. So right off the bat, I'm going to go at bass, and I'm going to go with somebody who's just a foundational, simple, but yet very efficient bass player. And I'm going to go with Francis Buchholz from the Scorpions. Again, he's just a good hold down the bottom. And with the rest of the guys that we've got on this lineup, that's exactly what I need him to do. We'll go to my guitars. My first guitarist, I am picking from the tandem of Maiden. You could say trio, but I don't count the third guy. Sorry. I'm going with Dave Murray, and I love Dave. Adrian is amazing, but there's something unique and special about Dave that I would love to have in my band. His solos are so unique. Plus, my goodness, he smiles all the time. How can you have a band that doesn't have somebody that smiles? So I'm all in favor of that. Great player, and looking forward to have him play with his partner, who I have grabbed out of Motorhead, the second of the guitarists who came through that lineup, the very underrated Phil Campbell. I think Phil is a perfect complement to Dave. Phil comes from that Michael Schenker, Gary Moore camp. While he may not play exactly like him, he's got a lot of that mentality. So he is a great, quote, Adrian, if I want to think of it that way, to Dave's playing as well. So great tone, great lead player. They could play great harmonies together, come up with some really great dual guitar stuff. And I'm excited about see how that works. At drums, and normally I would go drums first as a drummer myself, but in this case, I worked from the singer backwards. So this brought me a drummer, of course, I was not remotely sad to see sitting there. From MSG, I'm grabbing Mr. Powell. Mr. Thunder, Mr. Consistent, Mr. Super Groove. Sorry, Martin. He grooves like a crazy man. And huge, biggest sound ever. Gotta love Cozy Powell, which is why I picked Francis, because I can't have a busy bass player with Cozy Powell. It'd be a mess. So that leaves my singer. And it has to come from Judas Priest. And no, it's not the guy from this record. I want Tim Owens. And here's why. Tim, in my opinion, of all the singers on this list, is the only one who's capable of singing songs from every band on this list. He could sing Maiden. He can obviously sing Priest. He can sing Scorpions. He could be great in MSG, and he would be amazing in Motorhead. And I loved his original material as well. So my lineup of Cozy Powell, Tim Owens, Dave Murray, Phil Campbell, and Francis Buchholz, and they named themselves Tim and the Rippers. Pretty straightforward.
Well, that's a cracking start to this show. Well done.
Thank you, sir.
I didn't expect that, but in your mind, it was straightforward. And yeah, I think that's bonza. That's great.
Yep.
All right, Joe. Get the psychiatrist
Okay,
ready for this band, apparently.
Yeah, so do I have a big budget to put this band together?
Yes, you do.
Because I'm going to need
Your
a
budget is
psychiatrist.
totally clear.
All right, I need
Whatever
a family counselor and a psychiatrist to put this band together, because this band could possibly break up within 5 minutes. I'm bringing the Schenker brothers together, and I know there's this animosity. Michael Schenker, he opened up his last tour just ripping in the Rudolph, and I know there's a lot of. No, I'm gonna bring in a counselor. I'm bringing in a psychiatrist, and they're gonna get back together. And they're gonna write that love drive, beautiful music together. And,
there you go.
There's my Scorpion and MSG pick. Steve Harris, one of my favorite bassists. It's from Iron Maiden. My Motorhead pick. The original lineup wouldn't fit into this group, so I'm gonna pick Mickey D, because he's a pro. He played with King Diamond, played with Motorhead. And he played with Scorpions. Now he's currently with Scorpions. He actually says playing with Scorpions is more difficult than when he played with Motorhead, because Scorpions, you have to play that perfect beat the entire time, where Motorhead, he was able to riff and do a lot of fills. My singer is my all-time favorite. One of my all-time top 5 singers is Rob Halford. So, yeah, there's a lot of egos there. I'm putting the Schenker brothers together. I know there's a lot of animosity there, but with my budget, I'm going to bring, with some kind of monster Metallica, I'm bringing in that counselor to get them to work out their issues. These guys are brothers. They need to get back together. And that's my supergroup.
Well, there you go. Get out the insurance claims on that one. Let's see if the tour lasts the full date. Chris, welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Peter, for having me. This is awesome and nice to meet all the guys here. So this is cool. Yeah, you know what? This is a great idea, because supergroups seem to sell records and CDs. If you put the right combination together, right? So I'm also going with Mickey D on drums. As Joe was saying, he obviously played for Motorhead, but also King Diamond and the Scorpions now. So he's got that sort of ability to kind of switch gears. Because, when I saw Motorhead live, of course, Lemmy always said that they were a rock and roll band, but they also incorporate a lot of thrash in there as well. And then now to be doing the Scorpions, which is something completely different, he's a very versatile drummer. So I thought Mickey D would be a good choice for that. On bass, sort of an unsung hero, I'm going with Ian Hill from Priest on bass. I'm just I'm a fan of his bass work. I mean, I've got Rock-a-Rolla back here showing, because that's one of my favorite Priest albums. And he was able to kind of match that sort of like bluesy folk metal that they were doing, but also, he was able to play on the faster stuff as well. So again, I think he's a versatile player. One of my guitar players, going with Dave Murray from Maiden. Love Dave Murray. I just like how he just sits back and just plays those leads. He's not, I'm kind of comparing him to maybe like a Yannick Gers. Yannick Gers is like all over the place, but Dave Murray can just kind of sit back and do his thing. And he's a phenomenal guitar player. Got to go with Michael Schenker on the other guitar. So we got the duo of Schenker and Dave Murray, which would be interesting. And then on vocals, I'm going with Klaus Meine on vocals. I like his vocal style. For whatever reason, I talked about Rock-a-Rolla before. I'm also a big fan of the Scorpions' Lonesome Crow record. And I know a lot of people have never even heard that album, but I like the actual singing that he's doing on that record. So again, I guess the theme of this group is versatile. I think Klaus is a versatile singer. He can do some of the singer type stuff, but also, he's got the scream in him. He's got the sort of the rock grit as well. So that's my super group.
Fantastic. I'd pay money to see that group. And I agree, Ian Hill is way underrated. A lot of people think he just does very simple bass lines, but when you get to the nitty gritty, especially those earlier albums, they're a little bit more complicated than a lot of people give him credit. And those earlier Scorpions albums are gold. Even In Trance, the one after Lonesome Crow, that's killer. Great.
Yeah, no, definitely. So, there you go. I don't know.
Good stuff. Well done. Ryan, what have you got for us?
All right. So honestly, I don't know how this lineup would turn out, but it's one that I would definitely buy the album of. So for my lead singer, I have Rob Halford. An amazing range. He can hit some low notes. He can hit some super high notes. Has a lot of passion in his voice. He can have some really chilling vocal performances, like scary shit. So, awesome there. Was probably my right off the bat first choice for singer, although I did think of putting Klaus too, because he's one of my favorite vocalists like ever. But for my guitarists, I also picked the Schenker brothers. I know they don't really get along too well, but it would be awesome, especially like with Rob Halford singing, have some Scorpions type stuff. Michael is a melodic player that could bring some interesting dynamics in, and then Rudolph has so many amazing riffs. For my drummer, and he was actually the first member of the band that I picked, I chose Clive Burr from Iron Maiden. I don't know. He has such a cool style. He could be kind of punky at times. He could do the metal stuff. He has a lot of really cool grooves. Just a lot of feel to his playing. I've always said he's by far my favorite Iron Maiden drummer. Like, it's not even a competition for me. And then for my bassist, and this is the one where it gets a little interesting, I chose Lemmy. Like, probably not the best bass player on this list by any means, but still really solid. He was excellent in Motorhead. He was excellent in Hawkwind. And you also have him for some vocal performances if you want to. And I think he'd give the band an extra kick in the ass, make them a little rougher. I think that'd be pretty cool. But I did think about Steve Harris, but for me, seeing like where a new Iron Maiden's gone with him taking creative control, I don't know if I'd really want him anywhere near the songwriting. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's a really interesting. That's great. I'd
So
like to see the
harsh.
rider backstage. Imagine in the early '80s what the rider would be.
Right.
Oh my God!
And I think that's a good idea not to have Steve Harris on bass because, like you said, they'd probably be writing songs that were like 25 minutes long. So, nothing against an epic song, but as you stated, a lot of the Maiden stuff now is a little, it's kind of pushing the limits.
Yeah.
They're going into triple album, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's territory.
Yeah. Because he's my favorite bass player of all them that I mentioned. I was just like, I don't know if I'd want him writing songs with these guys. I think it would hurt the band more than help.
Who's saying that he's writing songs? Just saying.
Well,
I'm just throwing that out there.
It's your fantasy band. You could tell them you don't get to write.
Right.
Exactly.
See, Reed, you're right.
Exactly.
Yeah, my band's gonna break up in 5 minutes.
Yeah. Well, I'm worried about
maybe the healing power of love would bring them together, Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then you got Steve Harris in there too. So.
Yeah. Look, I'm worried about Ryan's band because I think that backstage it would just be complete debauchery. I'm completely worried.
Ryan's all about that. So
Yes, you are, aren't you? Yeah. I'm going to inject myself into this, so I'm going to put my selection. I'll go from the back end to the front. Drums, I picked Les Binks. I think he had the click, he had
Great
the
choice.
groove. He was on some of Priest's best albums. Inaugurated in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They've, sort of put him in, but he played on Unleashed in the East and Killing Machine, and that's a classic 70s Priest, so I really love it. I actually did pick Steve Harris, but with a rider that, he's got to be under tight control, but I just love his bass playing. And he really does, he's like one step away from Pete Way, who I loved his bass playing in UFO. And you'll understand why when I go through my selections. Guitar, Michael Schenker Group. Michael Schenker is one of my favorite guitarists. He's got the tone. He's just outerworldly, one of my favorite guitarists. So he's going to have the flash. He's going to do the riffage. And as my second guitar player, I picked Fast Eddie Clarke because he can do rhythm. He's very bluesy, and I think he would be a good support to Schenker. Let Schenker have the limelight and have his moments of flash, but he would be a good sort of wingman to Michael Schenker. And as the lead, I would have Klaus. I think Klaus is a fantastic vocalist. He's still got the chops at 70, compared to a lot of artists out there. So you can see my group has got a little bit of a UFO scorpion thing. And I thought I put Harris in because I could see him doing that Pete Way type of thing. And just put a strict rules on songwriting, nothing over 5 minutes. And that's my group.
All I can say is great minds think alike.
Oh.
Yeah. Also, you can still go up to nearly 8 minutes with Steve and he's okay. It's when you break the 8-minute barrier that things really go south.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I was
Peter,
going to ask you. Sorry.
Peter, you picked. All I can say is you have the exact same lineup that I picked.
Well, we'll hear it again.
We'll hear it again, but it's going to sound very similar.
Yeah, that's okay. Hey, while we're all together, because there's been reference to Iron Maiden and, the 10 minutes and thing, put up your hand if you like the latest Iron Maiden album.
Never heard it.
Yeah, if you heard it. No,
I do like it.
Yeah.
I can't get through it. I've been a Maiden fan since day one. In fact, I bought that Killers album when I was in Berlin.
Yeah.
Months before it was released in the United States. I can't get through this new album.
Yeah, I've played it a few times, and it just, the penny hasn't dropped. Maybe keep going at it. It got released 10 months ago, but
I still say that the best way to enjoy that album, way I got it came on 2 discs. I'm a CD collector. Ignore the second CD. That's the one that has 3 over 10-minute songs on it. Just ignore that entire second CD. Listen to that first CD. Not a problem. Has 2 epic length tracks. But I think it has some of their most creative material that they've done in years. And it's good.
Yeah. I could get into the Book of Souls, which was quite lengthy. And I thought that was more, it's sort of immediate to me, but the last one, not so much. No, interesting.
Yeah, I agree with you too. I liked Book of Souls better. I bought Senjutsu on CD as well because the vinyl I think is like a triple vinyl, and I don't know, I can't deal with triple vinyl. It's just too bulky. So the CD definitely was a better choice for me. But I don't know. For me, it's the production. It sounds muddy, and it's almost like who produced it again? I
Kevin Shirley.
Kevin Shirley. I almost feel like Kevin Shirley doesn't know what to do with the triple guitars. And sometimes it sounds like it just, I said, muddy. And I love Bruce Dickinson, but, he just doesn't have the range that he used to. So,
Well, Kevin Shirley knows what to do with Aerosmith. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah. The thing that I
Okay,
really
Ryan
like,
and Peter, yeah, they know what I'm talking about.
The thing I like about Kevin Shirley is when he got Come Taste the Band, Deep Purple, and he remixed those tracks. That was wow. Yeah. That was just maestro. That was out of the world. So I'll give him a big tick for that because those tapes were lying somewhere forever and very muddy because I think it was produced by Ian Pace. But when Shirley got it, wow, that was good. So I'll give him a tick for that. But I grant you about Iron Maiden, he gets a lot of flack that he doesn't really produce it like Birch did.
The last Black Country Communion album was great too. He was part of that.
Well, there you go. There you go. Love Kevin Shirley.
So then I wonder what the issue is. I mean, because like you said, he's got good production on that the Black Country Communion album. Somebody must be.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Peter's got it. Go ahead, Peter.
I think I know the words. Yeah.
Steve Harris.
Those are the words.
Everything starts and stops with Steve Harris. I don't care who's producing. I don't care about anything. It's all Steve.
Right. So it's
his band.
He's like a figurehead. Kevin Shirley just sort of.
Kevin's role is to make sure that he feels that they're giving the best performance, but he's not the one necessarily making the call on the sonic qualities of it.
Which is what Martin Birch did.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, back on track. That was a little diversion. Reed, over to you.
Great.
Okay, so I love these little thought exercises. I think any nerd loves lists of their favorite things, right? So for me, really the exercise is deciding what kind of band you want. And once you know what kind of band you want, the players just fall into place. And there's such an astounding breadth. I know all of these bands, no matter what Lemmy says, Motorhead were the heaviest metal of heavy metal bands. And very European heavy metal at that. But when you dig into who they've had play over the years, including, jazz fusion guys like Simon Phillips on drums, you could put together anything. If you wanted to do a power metal band, if you wanted to do a blues rock band, you couldn't quite go full on jazz fusion, but you could get pretty close. So that's the thought exercise. And I decided, looking at these, especially with Motorhead in there as the ringer, that what I wanted was a down and dirty hard rock band in the style of Motorhead or AC/DC or Samson. They were my linchpin band when putting this together. And as soon as I decided that I wanted a band like Samson, the dominoes fell, and you got to start off with Bruce Dickinson on vocals. Now, Bruce may have lost a little range. God bless him. The man had tongue cancer. And I think for having taken a golf ball sized chunk out of the back of his tongue, he still sounds amazing. And I'll give him this over Rob Halford. Bruce can both move around the stage and remember his lyrics without a teleprompter, which is something that Rob Halford hasn't been able to do for 20 years. So Bruce is my guy. He's incredibly energetic. He's an astounding frontman. And I have some videos from 1990 of him doing his solo albums where he's on a tiny stage, him and Yannick Gers and their backing band doing the Tattooed Millionaire tour. And he still has all of this energy. He just bottles it up into a little 4x4 square. So the man's an amazing frontman for that Samson AC/DC type of sound that I want. And by the way, am I the only guy who likes Yannick Gers? I love Yannick Gers as a guitar player. I mean, he's very Blackmore-esque, but he can do that AC/DC style rock and roll. And I love that. Plus, he's got all of that energy. Him and Bruce next to each other is actually too much movement. But moving on from my singer, for my first guitarist, I'm picking up KK Downey. So KK can write the riffs. He can play leads, although he's not going to be my primary lead player, but he's my foundational guitarist, and he's one of the most solid foundational guitarists out of all of these guys. And then I'm supplementing him with Michael Schenker from the Michael Schenker Group, which is funny because I'm not the world's biggest Michael Schenker fan. I like Michael Schenker. I prefer Adrian Smith, but I only got one guy from Iron Maiden, and that was Bruce Dickinson. So I'm throwing in Michael Schenker. Michael would need to keep it bluesy, though. None of his more kind of classical digressions. He needs to keep it right in that Leslie West Mountain kind of area, which he can excel at when he feels like it. And then moving on to my rhythm section, this was actually pretty easy because if you want a band that sounds kind of Samson-ish or kind of like Motorhead, then you want Motorhead for your rhythm section. So I'm going from the Scorpions, I'm pulling Mickey D on drums. Mickey's an amazing player. Not only is he a fantastic hard rock drummer, he toured with Halloween. I mean, he can do blast beat power metal with the best of them. He's just an amazing drummer. And then putting Lemmy on bass, rest his soul. That would give me a full-on dirty hard rock band. I think they would gel together fantastically. It would not be the most versatile musical unit that I could put together, but very cohesive and pointed in the direction that I want them to go. And I'm going to call him Delilah. Are we not doing names anymore? Come on, guys. Delilah. And it cracks me. So Peter, Jay, and I are usually so close. It cracks me up that we're so far off on this one.
Yeah. Yannick Gears, he's another controversial character, isn't he? I like him in Gillen.
I do
because yeah, like Double Trouble, Magic, I like him, but Maiden, he gets so much flack, and I think it's because of his ballet antics on stage.
Yeah.
Some people have even said, "Is he actually plugged in? Is he actually playing?"
Yeah,
but
Eddie,
he does.
there.
But he does contribute.
But
he has
I was a huge fan of Fear of the Dark. I love that album. I don't know, it's a controversial take or not. But I like Bionic Gears, and when they came back together, I was really happy they had 3 guitarists.
Yeah.
So I'm not live. It's great. I think their latest output, the songs are just too long.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have no problem with it.
My issue is maybe not so much as playing. In a real quick synopsis, it's adding that third sonic element has changed the sound of what Maiden sounds like. Because there are only so many frequencies, and when you add another instrument, it's just layering over frequencies that are already there. Any live recording pre-Yannick, you listen how much cleaner the drums are, and Steve is way further cleaner in the mix because he fits perfectly between Adrian and Dave. Yannick's tonal qualities that up, and that's part of the problem that they have with productions is putting that third guitar in there, trying to find enough room in the sonic spectrum to make everybody come through clean. And that's part of my biggest problem with Yannick being there.
Yeah, I think a lot of their musical direction is very folky. There's a lot of the music sounds like metal meets folk, going down that sort of path that wasn't necessarily there in the early lineup or the 80s, which a lot of people agree are the golden years. And I don't know if Yannick has brought it into that sort of realm, introducing a lot of folk melodies. But yeah, he's a controversial person, but I think he's he's playing in Gillen, I thought was outstanding. But look, that's a really good pick. Motorhead meets AC/DC. What more can you ask for? Good stuff. Welcome, Todd.
Thank you. Sorry I'm late. I
There
literally did my time calculation, and apparently she can't be trusted. So,
Well, she needs to be fired. Are you ready to come up for pick your supergroup?
sure, I can. First off, in a spirit of full disclosure, the Scorpions and Michael Schenker group are 2 bands that I don't know a lot about the individual players. I don't have much of a history with them. So I did the best I could, and hopefully there won't be too many rolled eyes. So my lead vocalist is Rob Halford. I had a difficult time picking somebody different, although I am a little bit concerned that maybe this band will sound a little bit too much like Judas Priest, but I picked him anyway because he's got a great range. And then I did something with the guitars, and I don't know whether this is a controversial thing or whether this is a too obvious thing. So I'll let you guys be the judge. I have picked Rudolf Schenker and Michael Schenker as my 2 guitarists. Now, I don't know if that's a thing that can't happen.
It has happened multiple times.
This might have broken the internet, Todd. This may have broken the internet.
So Todd, that was my pick, but the caveat is I had to bring in a counselor and a psychiatrist.
Yeah, I picked it too.
That's what I want. I'm unsure of, but I picked him anyway. For my bass player, I'm going with Lemmy. I thought it would be really cool if Lemmy was in a band where he's not the lead guy. I don't think we've ever seen that. Have we seen that? Has Lemmy ever done that?
Hawkwind.
What's that? Oh, yeah,
Hawkwind.
I guess so. Yeah, that was pretty big oversight on my part, but I still think it would be cool. And the only person that I knew I was going to pick was my drummer, Nico McBrain, because I love Nico. And I think that I just have a hunch that he could be versatile enough to not necessarily sound like Iron Maiden. So that's my pick. And I came up with a name that may be controversial because I don't know if Judas Priest would try to claim copyright on it, but I'm going to call them Hell Patrol.
Nice.
That's a nice name.
Very cool.
Just for fun.
Hell Patrol. I like that.
I think if the 21st century has taught us anything, it's that you can use band song names as the name of your band, and there's zero legal issues with that.
Yeah, I figured that was probably the case.
I think the 21st century says that you can pick a band that was in the 70s and choose the same name in 2021. There's plenty of those at the moment. So, yeah, good choice. Good choice. Two left. Who do we choose? John Clauser.
Okay. All right. So I felt so bad because I like yesterday just remembered, oh yeah, I completely forgot about this discussion. So I'm glad I remembered. So my drummer, I'm just going to start with the drummers and work kind of round robin. Pulling from the Scorpions, going to pull Mickey D. Just this will make sense as I go through the rest of my picks. On bass. So he was this guy behind the bass on Assault Attack and a couple of other albums. He was also in the sensational Alex Harvey band. Yeah, I'm going Chris Glenn. Every time I listen to Chris Glenn, I'm just like, that's just such a nasty groove he gets into. And he's just so straightforward and he just knocks it out. And I was listening to Assault Attack earlier today, and the song Dancer came up, and then there's like that one little midsection that gets kind of heavy, and there's this little riff that kind of reminds me of an old sensational Alex Harvey song, and I'm just like, oh, that's so dirty. I love that. Guitar players, I'm going with Adrian Smith and KK. So those are going to be my guitar players. KK, when I had to really stop to think about this one because I'm like, I know Glenn's is usually the one who's playing a lot of the solos, and KK's holding the riffs down. But KK does play the solo in one of my all-time favorite Priest songs, and that's Bloodstone. Love that solo in Bloodstone. I just love the whole atmosphere of that song personally. So gotta get him. I've always loved Adrian. I'm one of those guys who thought the Silver and Gold album from '89 was just a wonderful little album to listen to. And so I give that a lot of love because I love the old Urchin stuff too. So the pre-Maiden stuff, I really kind of dig that. So that leaves the singer, and I got to pull something from the Scorpion. By the way, Mickey D was my Motorhead pick. So the Scorpions, Klaus is going to be the vocals for this one. But I just imagine this band having really almost kind of throwing it back to kind of that Urchin, early Scorpions, early Priest, little sensational Alex Harvey thrown all in there. And, just kind of this, this band you could probably go to any pub in England and probably run into, and these guys would probably be up there playing. And that's kind of that bar rock, man. That's nothing flashy, nothing crazy, nothing wild. But I think these guys could knock something ridiculous out of the park. So
well done. That's good selection. The Golden Years.
That would be a good band. Yeah.
I'm just saying.
I didn't think about that one, but yeah, that'd be a good name actually.
Imagine if you called your band Golden Years, you'd have a lot to live up to.
Well, one, people would think that you were a David Bowie tribute band.
Yes.
And two, I would call you the Golden Girls. So maybe choose something different.
Boom. All right, Grant. Over to you.
Obviously, Peter and I know what's going on here. I mean, everyone else's picks, I get it. That's great and dandy, but Peter and I really know what's happening. Klaus Meine is the singer. There's no doubt. I saw the Scorpions when they first were on their first American tour in '79. Absolutely brilliant. Brilliant stuff. Klaus is my singer. There's no other choice. I'm going with Michael Schenker on guitar, because how could you not pick Michael Schenker? Just saying. Co-lead guitar player, I'm going to go with Fast Eddie Clark, because I'm not going to go with Lemmy. Let's really go with somebody who could play and can really deliver. So I think Michael Schenker and Fast Eddie Clark on guitar. I mean, Fast Weight by itself should be enough. On bass, I'm going to go with Steve Harris. I'm going to try to keep Steve kind of calm down. And all I want him to do is play bass, because as a bass player, we all know that Steve's a great bass player. Totally can handle it. It's like if you took Geddy Lee and said, Geddy, all I want you to do is play bass. Just calm down a bit. No singing, no keyboards, no anything. So we're just going to use Steve as bass. And drums, the only drummer for Judas Priest that was ever worth a shit, Les Binks. So we're going with Les because I think he was the best drummer. So I got Klaus, Michael Schenker, Fast Eddie Clark, Steve Harris, and Les Binks. Peter Kerr and I are totally in sync with this. Sorry, you guys, but it's a good try.
So you and Peter could be like the new Lieber Krebs and manage to.
Well, exactly. Peter and I are, we're like that.
Well, there we go. Well, that was fantastic, guys. I think I'd buy an album from each of those lineups. That was pretty stellar. No, we're still talking. So
what's that, Joe? What'd you say, Joe?
I thought I am blown away that no one took Uli John Roth. I thought for sure that out of everyone, someone would pick him.
If you want to go for that Hendrix vibe, you might want him, but.
Yeah. I gave it a thought for using him in the vocal and a third guitar, but I thought, nah, I'll go Klaus.
Yeah. You know who would mix really well with Uli John Roth? Yannick Gers.
Mm-hmm. I think KK would, because they're both Hendrix. I mean, Uli John Roth, wants to be Hendrix, but KK pretty much says he picked up the guitar because he loves Hendrix. I think that would be they would mesh well. Nobody
picked Glenn Tipton.
Yeah, that's true.
Are we surprised about that? Yeah.
Well, you know what else surprises me is nobody picked Blaze Bayley for vocals.
John, when you said John,
and all kidding aside, I'm a big fan of the X Factor, and I'm a big fan of Virtual 11. And if you guys have ever listened to Blaze's solo work, it's amazing. But with Maiden, I like Blaze a lot, and I like those two albums. It wasn't a good fit for him vocally, but his solo stuff, you can see he actually is a pretty good singer, and he just wasn't right for Maiden.
Yeah, I got a quick question. Just going on that, Fred, who do people prefer? Blaze with Iron Maiden or Ripper Owens Judas Priest? Who do you think was stronger?
Ripper.
That's why I picked him.
Yeah, I know you. Yeah.
He's horribly underrated. Absolutely horribly underrated.
Yeah.
Well, didn't Ripper sang with Iced Earth too, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Yeah. I think Ripper's been in about 643 and a third bands.
Yeah. That's true. But
he was also on Bar Rescue.
Look.
Yes, he was. And that bar didn't last much longer after they rescued it.
No.
Go listen to his version, his cover of Abigail from the Roadrunner Records party. He destroys it. Yeah. Just destroys it. He can do anything.
It's really funny, those Judas Priest albums, hasn't been reissued in vinyl. Chris, you can correct me if I'm wrong. They've never had a remastering. It's sort of been, pushed to the side. It's all strictly the white bread type of Judas Priest catalog. But those years, which KK loves, he pumps it up in his autobiography, and very hard to find.
Well, I tell you what, that album Demolition is kick ass. It's a really, really good record. And I know
his live work on Live 98 and Live in London are tremendous.
Yeah.
So The first episode we did, it was hard to pick because Grant, you agreed with this. Led Zeppelin was like our perfect band. When you bring up Michael Schenker Group, I think that second MSG album is also a perfect band. They pretty much, that lineup is phenomenal.
Well, I like the Assault Attack with Cozzy Powell. Oh, not Cozzy, but with Graham Bonnet. I think
Ted
that's
McKenna.
magnificent, that album. That's, you guys, I'll quickly tell you who got the picks. So for singer was Klaus. For guitarist, it was Rudolph and Michael. So Joe, there you go. Bass, it was Lemmy, and drums, it was Mickey D. So that was the rock group. So there you go. All right. Well, thanks, guys. I think we might do this again. We might do something even fresh. I don't know, something late 80s. We'll do another rock supergroup. So, Joe, got anything coming up on YouTube or any contrarian chats?
I was just recently on your channel, and that was a lot of fun. We talked about House of Blue Light, Deep Purple, and so that's a blast. So everyone out there, check out that episode and subscribe to Peter's channel.
Fantastic. And Peter, any other chats that you want to talk about?
I have nothing to plug for myself. I've really enjoyed my weekly jaunt into the world of Aerosmith with Ryan and Grant. We're trying like crazy to break servers all across the nation.
Yeah.
But we're wrapping that whole series up. It's been insightful and fun and controversial. All the good things you need to know about music. And I love being here. Thank you for having me.
No, not a problem. Not a problem. And Chris, plug for your show. Great.
Not doing anything crazy. I just did a video on this album, In Search of Ancient Gods, which is instrumental music with Bill Bruford. And this is based off the works of Eric Von Daniken, which is it's just a crazy ass album. I'm going to be doing a CD finds video in the next couple days, and I'm sure you'll probably see me online with Aaron Mutha Alamere, Jeff Witcher, JC from The Flip Side, Gary from Physical Format Rock and Roll, and also we've done some videos with Brandon, Mr. Hall of Fame. So you'll probably see me in those groups.
Fantastic. Well, come back for another one. We'll do another one of these. Yeah, we'll do another one of these soon.
Thank you,
Ryan. What have you got coming?
So I have a YouTube channel, Facebook and Instagram called Ryan's Vinyl Destination. Right now I've got the Aerosmith series going on. We just released an episode about 9 lives and Just Push Play the other day. And next week we'll be doing Honking on Bobo and Music from Another Dimension.
Oh yeah.
So that'll wrap up the studio albums, but we will be talking about like live albums and some other subjects about Aerosmith too, because it's just not time to stop that series. It's been so much fun. We did just wrap up the Genesis series though, with an episode about Calling All Stations. My favorite.
Look at you, Chris. Look at you.
My favorite too.
Oh man.
You're going to get Ryan all worked up showing in that.
Yeah, you got to be careful.
Yeah.
Ask him where he had toys in the attic a week ago.
Don't be shy, Ryan. Don't be shy.
It's moved up a lot, but let's see here. Got a Sly and the Family Stone video coming up on Monday. Peter and Grant and I will be recording that one. I know there's an Iron Maiden one in talks. I don't know when that's going to be yet, but also Police series starting up next week and a Queen series after that too. So there's tons of stuff happening right now.
Fantastic. And Reed, you did a killer episode recently with Grant.
Yeah, Grant and I explored the wide world of, we just lost Grant. Well, check out Grant's Rock Warehouse. We did an episode on surf rock, which as far as I'm concerned,
really
it may not be heavy metal, but surf rock is where aggressive guitar-oriented music starts. So it's really important to the lineage of heavy music, even if you don't like surf rock. I got off my guitar there and started learning Mr. Moto after the chat. It's just that music's ridiculously fun, and it's happy music, and you can party to it. And I don't get a chance to talk about it very often. So that was great. And Peter, maybe we should do something a little more off the wall. You could do like post-punk supergroup or something a little weirder. We could step off the beaten track, son.
We could do new wave supergroup. Imagine that.
Okay.
Could do supergroups in a lot of genres. Yep. Okay, absolutely. Todd, what have you got coming soon or done?
Well, just finished the Genesis series on Ryan's Final Destination and Grant's Rock Warehouse. Grant and I have been talking about power pop, talking about Matthew Sweet, and I got a couple of Contrarians things coming up, and I've recently started appearing on Rush Fans, and those guys and gals really know what they're talking about. That's a very impressive channel, and it's a lot of fun. I really got to be on my toes when I talk to those guys.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been up to.
No, I've seen your chats. It's killer. No, it's a really good.
Thanks.
And Mr. Klauser, what's in your music corner?
Well, the only thing I've got coming up is I'm not sure who all is going to be on it yet, but I've got a few invites out there for it. Talking about a little unknown band out of San Antonio, Texas, kind of a power pop alternative singer songwriter. I don't even know what other kind of genre to throw them in, but the band is called Love Coma. And it's just a little band that I heard about in the 90s, and the singer kind of went off and did a prolific solo career. They decided to get back together. And I kind of liked the album, and I just kind of was curious to see what other people would think of it. So we've got that coming up in a couple of weeks. Of course, I just did the chat with you on the first Wasp album, talking about the 5 songs, top songs there. Let me see.
We did a wrestling one, which was
we did. We did a wrestling. Yeah, Joe and I did a wrestling thing with Marco and Brett, and I don't think that's going to see the light of day.
I think I'll put out a petition to get that out. All right.
Yeah. I don't know what that one kind of went off the rails a little bit, but that might be a Patreon exclusive. But that was a lot of fun. I feel like I've done something else in my brain. My brain has been like under the weather all week. So I don't even remember much.
Nah, that's okay. That's okay.
So anyway, that's all I don't think I have any contrarian stuff coming up. Yeah, I think just this Love Coma thing is pretty much I know you and I've got something that we want to talk about
we'll
at some point.
Be doing it soon.
We'll get there.
All right, well, Rock Daydream Nation, please subscribe. We've got a lot of content. So as Joe said, we had the House of the Blue Light discussing the Deep Purple album as a forgotten album. That just dropped last night. And in a week's time, pretty exciting news. We're doing, myself and Grant, as a bit of a joint venture between our websites, are doing a special on the Knack, and we're going to be interviewing the bass player from the Knack,